Hello students, welcome to my channel. In this session, we will take a percentages application in mensuration questions. How a percentage growth in volume can be calculated, area can be calculated, perimeter can be calculated. We will discuss with the help of few examples. Let's take the first one. Side of a square increases by 10%. By what percent its area and perimeter will increase? You can pause the video, make an attempt and then continue watching this. This question we can discuss in two different ways. First, let me explain by way of an example, then we will see the shortcut. If you take an example, let the side be 10 centimeters. If the side is 10 centimeters, what is the area? Area of a square is, you all know, S square. Area of a square is S square, 10 square, that is 100. What is the perimeter? Perimeter is 4 times of side, 4s, that is 4 into 10, 40. Now, the side is increasing by 10%. So let the new side be, if it is increasing by 10%, 10% of 10. What is 10% of 10? 10% of 10 is 1, right? So the new side is, it increases by 1, it is 11. So what is the new area? The new area is 11 square, 121. What is the new perimeter? P stands for perimeter here, 4 into 11, 44. If you calculate the growth, 100 to 121, there is an increase of 21 from, increase or decrease always from the initial value. So 100 to 121, there is an increase of 21 from 100. So from 100 means percent only, no? Percent gets cancelled, it is 21%. What about this 40 to 44? There is an increase of 4. There is an increase of 4 from 40. Percentage means into 100. You can see here same 10%. So if the side increases by 10%, the perimeter also will increase by 10%. If the side increases by 10%, the area will increase by 21%. This with the help of example. So whenever you get a new question, if you don't get any idea, you can take example like this and do it. But now let me tell you shortcut. Now the side is increasing by 10%. If the side is increasing by 10%, what is the new side? 110% of the old one. It is nothing but 1.1 times of the old side. Yes. Now tell me in the area what is the power of S? 2. In the area power of S is 2s square. So you make 1.1 whole square. This is the shortcut. 1.1 whole square, it is 1.21. 1.21 means 121%, right? 100% equals to 1. Please remember. 100% is 100 by 101. Anything more than 1 is the increase. How much is the increase? 0.21. 0.21 is 21%, right? 1.21 is nothing but 121 by 100 or 121%. Hence, there is a growth of 21%, I can directly say. Why I am making square? Because power of S is 2. But in the perimeter, what is the power of S? You said perimeter formula is 4S. I am not interested in the coefficient, please. You take power of S. What is the power of S? 1. So it is 1.1 whole power 1. What is 1.1 whole power 1? 1.1 times. So the perimeter will be 1.1 times of the old perimeter. 1.1 times means it is not, how much more than 1.1? 0.1 is 10%. See, 1.1 is nothing but 11 by 10 or 110 by 100. It is nothing but 10% increase, right? So we are not interested whether it is 4s or 6s. We are not interested whether it is s square or 4s square or 6s square. What we are interested here? The power of the variable. This is the shortcut, right? Okay. Let's take up one more example. Length of rectangle increases by 10%. Breadth increases by 20%. If I tell you the shortcut, length increases, again you can take an example, say you can take length is 100, breadth is 50, area is 100 into 50, 5000. Length increases by 10%, so what is the new length? 110. Breadth increases by 20%, what is 20% of 50? 20% is 1 by 5, 1 by 5 of 50 is 10, so it will be 60. The new area will be 110 into 60, 60. 600. 5,000 to 6,600, there is a growth of 1,600 from 5,000. Percentage means into 100. You can see two zeros, 51s, 52s. My answer is 32%. But this example takes more time. But you will surely get the answer. You can take any number, not necessarily 150. I am taking these numbers because they are easy to calculate. Now, what I am telling the shortcut here, length increases by 10%. So, 110% or 1.1 times. In the area formula, what is LB? L power 1, B power 1. Breadth increases by 20%. What is the new breadth? 120% or 1.20% increase is 120%. We have taken up in the earlier videos. So 120% or 1.2 times. 1.1 into 1.2, it is 1.32. 11 12s are 132. 1.32, when you say there is an increase of 0.32 or there is an increase of 32%. This is the shortcut. If you remember, in the previous video, we have taken up price is increasing, quantity is coming down, what is the change in the expenditure? What was happening there? Expenditure is nothing but price into quantity. So we are using successive growth formula. Similarly here, what is the area? Area is nothing but length into breadth. When the result is going to be product of the two numbers, what we have discussed in the previous video, we can use the successive growth formula also. I can use this 10% increase will 10 plus, what is the successive growth formula? You know, no? X plus y plus xy by 100. We can use that formula also. 10 plus 20 plus 10 into 20 by 100. You can see it is 10 plus 20, 30 plus 2, 32%. This is the third approach. First approach is using an example. Second approach is the shortcut logic I told you. The third approach is using the successive growth formula. Like this, you can try questions differently, right? Let's take up one more example. If the radius of a circle doubles, this I think you should say without putting it on the paper. So radius of circle doubles. If there is r, what is the area? Pi r square. I'll write it here. If there is radius is r, what is the area? Pi r square. What is the circumference? It is 2 pi r. You know the circumference formula, right? Otherwise, you can note down area of a circle is pi r square, circumference is 2 pi r. Now, the radius doubles, so it is 2r. So, what is the area? Pi into 2r whole square. See, when it doubles 2 square, it will become 4 times. Is it not 4 pi r square? If you remember, if a number is getting 4 pi r square has become 4 pi r square. If you recall, in the earlier discussions, percentage growth quotients, if a number is getting doubled, there is an increase of 100%. If a number is getting trebled, there is an increase of 200%. If a number is getting 4 times, there is an increase of 300%. I can directly say. You can watch the previous video. I'm telling you directly. Otherwise, you have to write 4 pi r square minus initial value pi r square by initial value pi r square into 100. Like this, if you write 3 pi r square by pi r square gets cancelled, 300% you get. What about circumference? 2 pi into, in the place of r, I should write 2r. It will be 4 pi r. If it is 4 pi r, it is doubling. If it is doubled, what is the percentage increase? Just now I told you 100%. If it is getting doubled 100%, it is getting 4 times, it is 300%. Right? Let's take up one more example. Yeah. If the side of cube increases by 10%, what is the percentage increase in the volume? See, I'll tell you directly the shortcut here. The volume of a cube is s cube. If side is s cube. Here side increases by 10%. So the new side will be 1.1 times. Why 1.1 times? 10% more is 110% or 1.1 times of the old side. Now what is the power of s here? 3. What did I say when I explained to square? You should consider the power of the variable here. So it is 1.1 whole cube. It is 1.331. If it is 1.331, what is the increase? 0.331. 0.331 is nothing but 33.1%. Why? 0.331 is 33.1 by 100, I can say. If I multiply, right? So it is 33.1%. Direct shortcut. That's what I'm saying. You should use this shortcut. You can't write example every time and all that. See, Next one, in a cylinder by what percent the volume will increase? What is the volume of a cylinder? Pi r square h. See, now we are going to directly do it by shortcut. The radius increases by 20%, height remains same. This is remaining same, only this is increasing by 20%. But what is the power of r here? 2. So, if radius is increasing by 20%, the new radius is 120% or 1.2 times. But power of r is 2 here. What is 1.2 whole square? 1.44. 12 square is 144. 1.44, when you say there is an increase of 0.44, 0.44 is 44%. Now, if the height is increasing by 20%, radius remains constant. If the height increases by 20%, the height will be 120% of the old one or 1.2 times of the old one. But what is the power of, in this formula, what is the power of h? Only 1. So I should write only 1.2 whole power 1. It is only 1.2 times. 1.2 times means there is an increase of 0.2 or 20%. What you observe in all these examples, if the power is 1, you get the same answer. If it is 20%, here also you are getting 20%. And finally, if both radius and height increase by 20%, look at this. Radius increases by 20%, it is 1.2 times of the old radius. Power is 2, so 1.2 square. Height increases by 20%, it's 1.2, but power of height is only 1 here, so I'll write 1.2 whole power 1. It is 1.2 whole cube times, that is 1.728. 1.728 means 0.728. 0.728 is 72.8%. You can see 72.8 by 100 is 0.728 or not? Yes. So there is a growth of 72.8%. Like this, you should write shortcuts. One last example. This is the tip. This is different from the earlier examples. Length of rectangle increases by 10%, breadth increases by 20%. By what percent the perimeter will increase? Please remember, in all the earlier cases, we have the result as the product, length into b, breadth, side square, that is s into s, volume s cube, s into s into s, or the volume cylinder, you have just said pi r square h, r square into h. These are all products. But whereas here, perimeter is nothing but 2 into L plus B. Here, length increases by, suppose if original length is L, the new length is 10% more, it is 1.1 L. 10% more is 110% or 1.1 times of L. If the breadth is B, the new breadth is 120% or 1.2 times of B. Now, what is the new perimeter when I ask you? It is 2 times of 1.1 L plus 1.2 B. You can't try to find what is the growth because you can't take anything common here. Hence, the answer is cannot be determined. You cannot find out. Cannot be determined. However, there is one extra point I would like to add here. See, a rectangle is what? In a rectangle, length, larger side is called length and shorter side is called breadth. Suppose if length and breadth are equal in a rectangle, that is called a square. Please remember, a square is also a rectangle. Only thing is this length and breadth are equal, right? So now in a rectangle, so that's why what we say, students, is in a rectangle, length and breadth, if you consider length is greater than or equal to breadth, length is either greater than breadth or equal to breadth. Now, when length is increasing by 10%, breadth is increasing by 20%, students, suppose, I'll tell you a few cases. If length is equal to breadth, the answer will be 10 plus 20 by 2, 15% will be the growth in the perimeter. The perimeter will increase by 15%. Suppose length is greater than breadth. Since, see, the larger one, length is greater than breadth, and larger number is increasing by small percentage, hence my answer will be somewhere between, it is less than 15%. So it's, see, when I say one is increasing by 10, another is increasing by 20, the growth will be anywhere between 10 and 20. If they are equal, it is exactly 15%. But now that if they are not equal, if length is greater than breadth, the larger number is increasing by small percentage, hence my answer will be somewhere between 10% and 15%. More than 10 but less than 15. I'll tell you another point, please. Suppose if length is increasing by 20%, I'll change this, and breadth is increasing by 10%. Then what happens? As I said, if L is equal to B, the growth will be 15%. Growth in what? Growth in the perimeter, please. We are talking about perimeter. Suppose if length is greater than breadth, and length is greater than breadth, then larger number is increasing by higher percentage. Hence, my answer will be not exactly 15. It will be between 15 and 20%, because it has to be between 10 and 20. But now it will not be exactly 15. It will be more than 15 and less than 20. Is that clear? If length is increasing by more, my answer will be more than half. That is more than 15%. If length is increasing less than group breadth, then the answer will be less than half. That is less than 15%. That is somewhere between 10 and 15. Suppose if length and breadth are equal in a rectangle, then answer will be exactly 15%. When in the options of this information, you cannot determine the answer exactly, right? So these are the applications of percentage growth and all that in mensuration, right? So thank you. We'll meet with a new concept in the next video.